Natsuki Subaru is my favorite character of all time. I think his progression and regression as a character is fascinating, and Season 3 serves as a fantastic goalpost for his journey throughout Season 1 and 2, and it all culminates in his battle with Regulus Corneus, the antagonist that foils all of his old behavior. But before we get into that, we have to talk about his old behavior to begin with. Let's get something straight. Season 1 Natsuki Subaru is a loser. Before you get mad, that is by design. He's supposed to be a loser. Arc 1 through 3, Subaru has no self-confidence. He has no faith in his own identity. He's a high school burnout who regularly attempts to obfuscate who he is, like being the princess of the ice, or when he tried to go to high school as a girl, or in the Arc 2 side story, when he assumed the identity of Natsumi Schwartz. The point being that he is extremely uncomfortable in his own skin, which causes him to shut himself in his bedroom before being isekai'd, and making the hardest choice one could make, to give up on himself. That is the state of Natsuki Subaru before being isekai'd, a shut-in with no prospects of a future who has given up on the identity he believes he's stuck with. From his perspective, being isekai'd was the best thing that could have happened to him. It's a concept he was familiar with from the anime and manga of the real world. He saw all these pathetic people brought into a world that seemed tailor-made for them, given absurd powers, having women flock to them, the ultimate power fantasy. So when Subaru arrives, he expects things to be the same. He arrives with a lot of preconceived notions about this world. Arcs 1 through 3 Subaru is by no means a bad guy, but he has some major flaws. People like to reject this, but these flaws what make him an interesting character, and to reject them is to say that Subaru isn't interesting. He's entitled, expecting people to bend over backwards for him because of things he's done that they can't know about. He rejects the autonomy of others unless it's convenient for him, going around calling people NPCs or wanting to shoulder their own problems for them. Just like high school when Subaru tried to reinvent himself, being isekai'd is a time where he can change the perception of Natsuki Subaru, to forever alter that identity where the baggage of being the Natsuki-san doesn't exist. However, the ReZero world gives him a wake-up call real quick, as he has no overt power, his magic is a support type, and the girls aren't necessarily flocking to him. He expected to be handed everything like a proper isekai protagonist, yet all he was granted is a twisted, cruel power to be returned by death. A power that ends up being used to exacerbate all of Subaru's apparent character flaws. It feeds into his entitlement, as he continually stacks up experiences his loved ones can't know about, yet he tries to hold over them. It feeds into his rejection of autonomy, as his power is quite literally the definition of anti-autonomy, the power to rewind the clock. It feeds into his strained identity, like if you bomb an introduction and blow your own head off with a shotgun to try again.
Things go wrong, I'll blow this whistle and call the date before they have a chance to get to know us. Hi, ladies. I'm Frack. Shit.
It also serves to feed into his developing ego, which explodes in Arc 3, as he continually achieves things that normally he would never be able to, and achievements slowly mount for him. Arc 1 and 2 are both spent exploring Subaru and his flaws, and Arc 3 is when he gets hit by the giant hammer known as the consequences of his actions. He once again feels entitled to Amelia's care. He blows up at her because she's upset at him for crossing her boundaries. And this also comes off the heels of us being introduced to all the knights, officially, all of which foils something about Subaru in some way. Reinhard is the all-powerful isekai protagonist one would expect, who feels the pressure of his familial connections will crush him. Ferris is someone who struggles with a sense of identity, though if you're an anime only, you wouldn't know that. Julius is excessively vain, always battling with how others perceive him, and Aldebaran is from Japan, just like Subaru, once again making him a little less special in the grand scheme of things, and the arc's very antagonist of Betelgeuse mirrors Subaru's toxic entitlement to love, even saying something he said to Amelia one-to-one while he's killed by Julius in Arc 3. He deals with the consequences of his boundary-breaking behavior, gets cornered by Betelgeuse and the White Whale, while he stares back at the kind of obsessive and toxic love that follows him in REM, before giving up. And this is why episode 18 is my favorite episode of anime ever. It's 20 minutes of deep introspection and reflecting on what led him to this point. All of this stuff has followed him, and he's forced to confront his powerlessness, his entitlements, his poor character, his poor treatment of those around him, but it causes him to give up. This video has been a lot of pointing out Subaru's character flaws, but he's more than that. They just serve as the impetus for his character journey. He is more than his flaws, and episode 18 helps remind him of that as well. He can be genuinely compassionate. Even through his faults, he connects with those around him. He wants to do his best to cheer up those who are hurting. He always wants to extend a hand to someone crying, and Subaru's most important character trait is that no matter what, he does not give up. Forget his yin magic, forget Return by Death, that is his true power. He didn't just give up in Arc 3 because it was a tough battle, he gave up on himself, and after Rem helps him realize this isn't the end, he finally finds the courage to get back up. He might not be the main character, allegedly. He might not be the strongest. Not everyone is going to like him, but that's okay. Natsuki Subaru can still save people. One of my favorite things about ReZero, however, is that just because you overcame a character flaw in an arc doesn't mean that that's cured forever. And this battle of the identity of Natsuki Subaru continues even into Arc 4 or Season 2. He's a character informed by relapses in bad behavior, showing the struggles of being better for what they really are, and not glamorizing mental health issues. Now that Natsuki Subaru knows his best trait is how he will never give up, this is something that will twist him into the kind of man we see in Arc 4. I say twist because Arc 4 Subaru is a man with rock-bottom self-esteem. You thought 3 was his lowest, meet Suicide Man. Just because he shot back up from Arc 3 doesn't mean his central issues were resolved, which is fantastic writing in my opinion. He feels useless, he feels that the only value his existence offers is the ability of return by death. He thinks that if he could just shoulder all the problems for everyone, he could be worth something. These are the expectations of the Natsuki name, as demonstrated by the parent-child episode. He will do what he can to live up to those expectations, and in that lieu, Arc 4 shows a continuation of Subaru's lack of respect for others' autonomy, something highlighted by the antagonist of the arc, Roswell L. Mathers. You'll notice an ongoing trend throughout this video that Subaru's antagonist all foils some bad aspect of him, and Roswell is no exception. He's a man who doesn't respect Emilia's autonomy, putting her in a race for leader of Lagunica and continually managing away her life, and even trying to use Subaru to that end, nor does Roswell respect his own life, as evidenced by one of the rabbit loops. Subaru is forced to realize that he was moving, just like Roswell, when he was trying to take the trials in Emilia's place, that he wasn't respecting her wishes or her autonomy and trying to achieve the things that she set out to do. He's forced to realize that he was moving just like Roswell by rejecting those in his life and trying to resolve everything on his own for the person he loves. He's forced to realize that he was moving just like Roswell by having no regard for his own life because he understands that there is a loop beyond this one, and Subaru starts to make use of throwaway lives. And now, this is what makes the Witch's Tea Party such an important scene for him, because it's where he's faced with the idea that his life has more value than his death. It's something he can't reconcile with. With his power, he can do almost anything, but how much pain and suffering must one go through for someone else? Is it fine to be an entirely selfless person? Shouldn't he be one of the people that needs to be saved too? After coming out of that, he's also confronted with the fact that people do genuinely care for him, and don't believe that Subaru can shoulder the world on his own, as Otto gives him a hard reality check. Subaru's life has value, he's more than returned by death, and together, he and his loved ones can take on the world. It also feels so powerful when Subaru comes out with this new mindset because he opposes Roswell. He encourages Emilia to do what she can do and stands by her side while she does it, but also encompasses choose me. The girl he would refer to as an NPC or continually make degrading video game or anime related comments to, he now completely respects, and rather than forcing her to come with him, which he could do so easily by saying that he's that person, he grants her autonomy for the first time in hundreds of years, and he tells her to make that choice for herself so that he doesn't do it for her. Arc 5, or Season 3, serves as a fantastic version of what I call a benchmark arc, for more than just Subaru. It tells you what he's gone through, how he's changed, and sets up for the future, giving you a good benchmark as to what Subaru has been up to and will get up to in the future. This is something that is perfectly exemplified by something that, in my opinion, is very daring with this arc, and that's its lack of return by death. For a lot of people, this is the main hook of the series, understandably so, and at some point, Tappei went, well, what if we took it away? Mostly. Natsuki Subaru only dies 3 times throughout Arc 5, and this is something that is very strong thematically. Telling Subaru he has more worth than his death before throwing him into a 100-loop wood chipper would be an odd thing to do without some build up to that regression, so Arc 5 serves as a reward for his growth. Subaru very easily could have utilized throwaway lives just like in Arc 4 to achieve victory in Pristella, but he didn't, and that's a great character choice. Because Subaru isn't just returned by death, and he makes that known through utilizing his allies and close connections to come out of Pristella alive. I like to imagine the Arc 5 speech as a sequel to From Zero. In episode 18, Subaru had completely given up on himself, and without himself, he felt nothing was possible. He was scared, powerless, and more or less alone, and that put him into a horrible position. The speech is not that different. Natsuki Subaru is still scared, he still feels powerless, but the main fundamental difference here is that he's not alone. It's those allies that push him forward, just like the Season 3 ending displays. That's also why I love that his conclusion in this arc is just resting. After Regulus' defeat, he doesn't go and join other fights. He has faith in everyone to handle what they have to. Subaru's growth, just like Season 1 and 2, can be highlighted by what we just spoke about, but also in his antagonist, Regulus Corneus. Just like Petaljuice and Roswell, he exemplifies the worst traits of Subaru, but now ones that he's already overcome, somebody he could have been like. Regulus feels entitled to other people's love. He removes their autonomy and forces them to be his wives. He has a power that bends the rules of the world. He lashes out at others and refuses to accept accountability, makes very on-the-nose misogynistic remarks, and ultimately feels like he can accomplish everything on his own. Unlike Betelgeuse and Roswell, Subaru has more or less overcome all of that. There are moments of regression here and there, like when Subaru goes off on his own to try and stop Sirius, or when he tries to keep it from Amelia like she can't handle it yet again, before going, okay, yeah, my bad. Which, like mentioned earlier, is really cool because Subaru isn't perfect, and overcoming your flaws sometimes isn't pretty. Regulus' defeat is caused by Subaru's growth. He works with Reinhardt as the muscle, excepting he can't do it alone. He relies on Amelia to figure out that connection with the wives. What helps Subaru overcome his trials throughout Arc 3 and 5 is that he hasn't given up on himself anymore. Back in Japan, he felt like his life was at a standstill, and that was when he lost. The same applies to Betelgeuse, Roswell, and Regulus. Ultimately, what their enemy wasn't necessarily Subaru, but the idea that they stopped growing, and not growing or being unable to grow, learn new things, and change, is the enemy of humanity, and that's the trap that Natsuki Subaru of old fell into, as he lived with the hell of bearing the name of oneself. Regulus' defeat is ultimately reliant on others, a fundamental lesson from Arc 4 and Otto's Fist. This twisted interpretation is also what wins Subaru the fight, and as he uses Invisible Providence, or as he calls it one last time as a fuck you to Regulus, the Unseen Hand. Sure, Subaru used to do bad things, but that doesn't mean he can't do good. Sure, the Unseen Hand used to do bad things, but that doesn't mean Invisible Providence can't be a power that is used to save. Well, where does Arc 5 leave Subaru, you may ask? Heroism is a big label thrown around a lot in this arc. It's a cornerstone of the speech scene, and also from Zero, strangely enough. Rem considers Subaru her hero, and now Subaru is taking on the hero title for even more people. A term that Aldebaran specifically uses is heroic reveries or heroic delusion, something expressly critical of the mindset of being a hero. This is going to become the central conflict for Natsuki Subaru. What does it mean to be a hero? How far will one go to be a hero? How much will those heroic reveries crush someone? And is being a hero even a good thing? I just wanted to make a quick video talking about my favorite character ever, and I hope I gave some insight into why I like him so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe for more. You can also check the description down below to become a member, which gives you benefits like early videos, membership badges, and cool custom emotes. You can join the Discord where we talk about ReZero, Kagurabachi, Jujutsu Kaisen, and all kind of stuff. Additionally, you can go to the channel store and pick up some awesome stickers made by our channel artist, so you can carry the power of Graphia with you on your water bottle. That's about it though. Thank you for watching. See ya.